Hey YouTube, this is Kevin Bowen of Bowen Small Engine, and as you guys can see, I clearly got the fire going a lot better. I'm currently cooking some of the little smokies. I have been sampling them. I've got the fork out over here. As you guys can imagine, I'm actually fairly hungry. I didn't really eat a big breakfast this morning, and I came straight down here, and then in light of things, you know, it's taken a while, okay, to actually get a fire going, because as I said, I do not have a ferro rod, a lighter, basically any means to make fire other than a Bowdrill. Definitely not by my choice. I actually think the kids had a hand in that, but I won't accuse them. But regardless, guys, it's my own responsibility. I should have checked my kit, okay, before I actually came to Athens. But be as it may, I was able to get an ember, and I did do it more or less primitively. Okay, I didn't use the knife that you see on the ground here. It's the one that you've seen in prior videos. I call it the Bobcat. It's highly similar to the Scorpion that Dave Canterbury sells on his website. Excellent little knife, probably one of my better pieces of work. I didn't use the Baco, even though I know you guys can see it hiding kind of there. I did not use it either. The only thing that I used that more or less wasn't primitive was the string that you clearly see on the bow, and it's basically just a lawnmower string. And for the people that are new to this channel, I work on a lot of lawnmowers, so that's the reason why that you're seeing the the lawnmower string instead of your typical paracord or bank line, which I do have right here. I'm going to go ahead and get the little smokies off because I don't want them to burn. As I said, guys, you know, I haven't ate today, so this will be a welcome meal. The tripod in the prior video, as I was trying to explain, because I was basically out of breath in trying to get the ember, the tripod had actually fell, if you will, okay, and it deleted the video. For whatever reason, only that particular video, which absolutely sucks, because I would have loved to have showed you guys the tinder bundle that I made and how I blowed it into flame and everything. It did it conveniently enough right almost at the end of the video, okay, just as I was getting to wrap everything up, you know. It just completely sucks. But regardless, you know, I did show you in the other video that there was nothing staged about the video. Unfortunately, it was just bad luck on my part. This, of course, was the handhold that I made. As you guys can see, I made this little indentation myself. Well, it was pretty much already there. I just kind of widened it out and took a stone and more or less scraped it out and made it smooth. Now, I want to note, guys, that this is not ideally what you're looking for in a hearthboard. You can see how brown it is. Granted, it's a little black in spots, and I was really lucky, but this is not ideal, okay? It did produce the ember, but I gotta admit, guys, I really worked for it. I think I was more fortunate that this part of it, okay, was black than the hearthboard here. Yes, it was made out of the same limb, but I think this limb right here may have potentially, or the lower part of the branch, shall we say, may have potentially been on the ground. So that's the reason that I believe that it's a little more brown than it should be. But regardless, I was successful, and I didn't use anything more than the stones that you see right here. Well, I'm sorry, guys, that's a lie. Not that stone, even though it is broke off. Okay, here's one. You can see that I used that stone, and there was another that unfortunately I'm not seeing here. I must have scooted around and tossed it, but there was another stone that I was scraping with, guys. And there it is. The stone right here I was scraping with. And it worked very, very, very well. I dulled the edges, as you can see. I've used it so much. but it was very effective and it worked very well. I'm going to have to remember to check my kit before I take off. It's an amateur mistake. One actually I have to admit that I'm kind of ashamed of, but this is reality, guys. Like I say, I don't stage this crap. It actually just happens to work out that way. I was very fortunate, okay? I really was. That ember really made me work for it because the materials were not ideal, okay? They really were not. I had done it enough that I knew with confidence that I could get an ember because with my experience, okay, I have used even hardwoods and got ember. But honestly, I wouldn't choose this particular type of material to make the Bowdrill sets out of unless it's extremely dry. I'm not down in sycamore. I really like sycamore, but this was the only branch in the area that was convenient, okay, and that I could actually use. The willow would have been great, as you guys can see, but unfortunately there was no limbs that were really dead underneath it, and I think that's just basically due to the creek rising. They take a lot of gravel from here, so naturally you can imagine, you know, this place floods pretty regularly. But anyway, as you guys seen, I've got a fair amount of gear here. I've had a lot of people ask me about the knife, and I'll admit, guys, yeah, it's really a work of art. I'm very proud of it. The scales are actually from curly maple, and when I say curly maple, I mean old curly maple. None of this new crap that you get. I'd say this wood, truthfully, is pushing 100 years old, and I'm not exaggerating that at all. It was actually taken off a very, very old house. So, you know, that's why you see the little wormholes, you know. And I left them in it. It kind of gives it character. But the blade is spring steel, and the pins are actually 0.25 muffler bolts from a steel chainsaw. And of course, this is just a standard roll pin that you see at the bottom. And as you can see, this knife is definitely used. I've made many flint and steel fires, and I would have gladly done that today had I just had some charred material. But as I said, you know, that'll teach me a lesson, okay? I need to actually check my kits before I take off. I am not a big fan of Bowdrill, even though I've made many fires, guys, many with a Bowdrill set. I'm not a big fan of Bowdrill. That doesn't mean that I would tell anyone not to learn the skill. You need to own that skill. But it just goes to show, no matter how well you think you are, or how good you think you are, shall we say, there's always room for improvement. And honestly, you know, I'm quite pleased that I got the ember. But honestly, guys, it was a pain. I mean, it really was. I really should have selected my material a lot better. And if I had to do back over again, I gladly would have. But regardless, I had showed off the knapping tools in the past, and these of course are just some that I had made, and I mean years ago. They work very, very well. I've made many arrowheads with these knapping tools. Now guys, I'll admit, I am no professional, okay? I would cringe to think that anyone would even call me a professional, but I can tell you that I do and have made many arrowheads before. They're effective, okay? Let's just say that. They're not going to win any contest, that's for sure, but they are effective. And of course, the flashlights are just some that I've recently added to this canteen set that's sold by Dave Canterbury. I really love this little, I should say bottle set. It's not technically a canteen, but although I do have the canteen, but I really like this set probably equally as well as the canteen, if not better. So at this point, guys, the fire's basically burnt down. It's getting a little later in the evening, and in the background you can actually hear the sawmill. I think these guys are getting ready to wrap it up for today, and to be honest, as tired as I am, I'm thinking I'm going to do the same. I'm going to eat my little sausages here and get my butt back to the house. Until the next video, YouTubers.